Hey, so we're going to be talking about building a great church culture, and I guess we're talking from our experience here at Icon Church, but also some of the things that we've seen. And one of the things that really stood out to me is this phrase: culture doesn't happen by default, but by design.
Yeah, that's right.
And we want to design the culture. And when we talk about culture, we're talking about the behaviors, how a place, when someone walks in, it feels.
Yeah.
They get a sense of what this is going to be like. And so we want to create that by design. And I'm always struck when just reading about Jesus, how many of his miracles, he either had to change an environment or take people out of an environment to get them into the right environment to receive what God had for them. And so we take this phrase, culture doesn't happen by default, but by design. And rather than allowing our feelings, maybe even our upbringing or the standards of our society to take the lead, our goal is to intentionally and consistently create the culture we want to see. And so you're going to dive into some of that and how practically that works.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's great what you said, that this is our DNA. This is filters through every part of our church life. And this is just what we do. You can adapt it for your own church setting, but it kind of goes threefold. We have our vision as Icon Church, which is human flourishing. We have our mission, which is reaching people with the message of Jesus. But then we have our core values. And these are the building blocks, what the foundation of our culture is. So these are used throughout our Sunday services, throughout our teams.
Yep.
They form the fabric of what we do and who we are, and then practically how we do it. So I thought it'd be really good just to take a couple of those and maybe drill down into the detail of how we do that. So one of those, and I'm going to pull up here, the actual wording of what that says is positive. We're faith-filled. We're believing and speaking the best. So an inherent part of our culture as Icon Church is that we are positive. We speak well of people. We speak well of our leaders. We speak well of our teams. We speak well of our pastors. And that's something that we encourage throughout church life. Something incredibly that we do in our meetings, our staff meeting, for example, we start every single one of those with stories and shout outs.
Yep.
We take a moment just to honour and acknowledge people who've done good things that have happened, where God's moving. And that's just that culture of always going for the positive first, always making sure that we speak well of people and speak well of the church. And we've seen that just the language changes the atmosphere, doesn't it?
It does, yeah.
It really does.
Yeah.
One of the other things that we do, our values, is empowering. We give responsibility and we encourage ownership in all areas of life. And that's across life, but specifically with regards to church life, we say if you're too big to serve, then you're too small to lead. And we just encourage that value, that culture of serving.
Yeah.
You will see it across our services, across our midweek things, everything we do as a church, the culture is we serve. It doesn't matter where we're at. You'll see our lead pastors, our campus pastors doing everything, setting up chairs, tables, cleaning, replacing the loo roll. The culture in our church is that we empower people and we empower people to serve across the life of church.
And within those, I mean, we got six values, but that informs our behaviour and the culture that we want to see and we want to build within our church. And we're really intentional about that, just because we believe that it's God honouring.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
we want it to be a place as people walk in, they get a sense that this is being like kingdom here on earth as it is in heaven. And so we're really intentional. We've wrote a culture guide. It needs slightly updating now. And if you're watching this, any of our team, update it, please. But within there, we have cultural phrases that we say, like, you belong here. We have language in here that we don't say this, we say this. So we don't say your church, we say our church.
Yeah.
We don't say we are a multi-site church. We don't say location. We say campus. That's just our language. Your language might be different.
Yeah.
But it's cultural language. And then we have some what we do's in terms of our service, what we want to see in the service, what we do in terms of just building that culture into Life Church. And I want to go back to the start. Culture doesn't happen by default. It happens by design. And so I really believe that there is a great culture that you can build within
Yeah.
your church and be able to build a great culture in your church.
Absolutely. And I think it's just that making that decision, being intentional,
Yeah.
isn't it? Maybe getting together as a leadership team and saying, okay, how do we want to build our culture?
Yeah.
What do we want it to look like? Where are we going to start?
Yeah.
And let's put these things in place and be intentional about it.
Yeah. So that hopefully is a helping point, a helping start point for you, or maybe even again to revisit your culture and what you want to see and what you believe God is calling you to see in your church. And I believe as you build great culture in your church, you'll see God move powerfully.
Absolutely.